Hey Cancer, welcome to Intuitive Gems. My name is Desiree, and today I'll be doing your money, wealth, finance, prosperity, and abundance reading for the month of April 2025. If this is your first time catching one of my readings, I do want to say hello and welcome. I invite you to subscribe because I do these readings each and every month, and I would love to share your money message with you. For the readings this month, I'm using my Morgan Greer Tarot deck. I'll clarify with my Radiant Rider-Waite Tarot. And then, Cancer, we will close out your reading with a Threads of Fate Oracle card. All right, let's get right into it, Cancer, because things are looking quite juicy for you. All right, money miracles definitely are on the way. And I'm getting that because we got this world card here, right? The world card really means that sometimes our entire world as we know it is changing for the better, right? Things that we thought were impossible now become possible, and things that we thought would never change are finally starting to shift. All right, we got the Page of Swords, Knight of Cups. This is somebody showing up for you in a very big, profound way. The Page of Swords means we've got some unexpected news as it relates to something being stopped or discontinued, but it's a good thing. Like I said, a lot of times I think that's when a bill gets paid off or you cancel a subscription or something like that. We also got the Queen of Pentacles. She does not take any unnecessary risk. She does not do anything that could put her in a vulnerable position. So when we're talking about money, this means that sometimes you have to say no, or it means that maybe you decide to do something different than what you had initially thought you would do. So maybe you decide to save your money instead of buying X, Y, and Z, or maybe it could mean that you decide to get more informed and educated about something as it relates to finances before you make a decision. Then we've got the Knight of Rods, Knight of Wands. Then we've got the Four of Pentacles in the reverse. All right, this is telling me to tell you to really examine your budget. All right, Cancer, really look at your money situation. I feel like your budgeting could use a little bit of tightening up. And I think that's the case for all of us, right? We can always do better as it relates to our budgeting and our saving and our strategic planning when it comes to finances. All right. Okay. Let's see what else we need to know for the sign of Cancer. Ooh, cash coming in. Again, that just reaffirms what I said. Oh my goodness. Yes, money miracles. Money miracles are on the way. Cancer. Look at that. Ace of Rods, that's literally the cash in hand card. Then we've got the Nine of Cups, literally the wish card. Then you've got a lot of options, people inviting you or offering you something. Okay. So here's the thing, Cancer. You've got a lot going on. Be careful about overgiving, right? Just because you have a lot coming in doesn't necessarily mean you have to, overgive or overcompensate for something. Because that's what I'm picking up with this card. Now, I've been guilty of that too. I think we all have, right? Because for some reason, maybe we feel insecure about something. Maybe we feel like we owe somebody something. But remember, you don't have to make accommodations because other people expect you to, especially as it relates to money. And I feel like that's something that you're going to be thinking about this month, Cancer. All right, so here's where we see the money miracles. Like I said, cash in hand, wishes coming true, a lot of options coming your way. Then we've got that Two of Wands. Now, the Two of Wands is a card that talks about looking at the past in order to make decisions in our future. We look at our past experience and we compare that, the results that we got, we compare that to the results that we're trying to get. Did this work? Did this not work? What should I have done differently? Or what should I do again as it relates to your money? All right, so really examine your past actions and your past patterns as it relates to money, and really use that to figure out a plan as it relates to what's going to work and what's going to get you to your money goals in the fastest way. All right, so one of the things I recently learned, and I don't know why, but I feel like maybe somebody needs to hear this. When we put a goal in place as it relates to anything, but because we're talking about money, we're going to use the goal of money. When you put a goal, or when you decide on a goal as it relates to your finances, you have to understand that sometimes good and quote unquote bad things will happen in order to get you to that goal. Because I think a lot of people don't talk about this. They feel like, oh, when I set a goal, then everything should positively work out. And that's really not the case. That's not how it works. There's going to be some things that you're going to quote unquote define as negative, and you're going to say, wow, that shouldn't happen. I'm working towards what I want. But sometimes that's how things will unfold. Sometimes things need to be eliminated. Sometimes things need to be disrupted in order for you to get exactly what you want. So make peace with that and accept that. Okay? All right, Cancer. So, and what's interesting is I feel like these cards are actually telling us that. Okay, because we've got the money mindset. You're attracting a lot of attention. You're doing all the things that you need to do. Future planning here. The 10 of Cups, one of the most positive cards in the deck. And then we've got the 5 of Cups. Remember I said, when you are working towards a goal, when you are trying to make things happen, understand that things will shift, and those will be positive. Those will be quote unquote negative. But that's what needs to happen in order to give you what you want. So the miracles are on the way. All right, Cancer, the miracles are happening very clearly as I look at these cards, and this 5 of Pentacles, that's the mindset that we need to have. Understand that, sometimes things will feel very chaotic, but that doesn't mean that I'm not getting what I want, especially as it relates to my money, because clearly you are, Cancer. All right, and we've got this card twice, that 6 of Pentacles in the reverse. So like I said, be careful of overgiving or people pleasing. That's usually what that card indicates. Sometimes we get caught up in that. Sometimes we feel like, oh, I got to do X, Y, and Z for somebody, and at the end of the day, it's about you and your goals and what you want, Cancer. I'm not saying you have to be, mean about it, or not have consideration for other people, not at all. But remember, at the end of the day, what you want and what you're working towards is what matters most. And that's where your attention needs to be, right? Because when you take care of you and what you want financially, that puts you in a position to help other people. It puts you in a position to support others, give to others, or whatever the case may be. All right, so make sure you totally understand and grasp that. Okay, so we got that Knight of Swords in the reverse, and I like seeing him in the reverse because that talks about stability, right? Because that Knight of Swords typically is a very shifty energy, but when he shows up in the reverse, that's actually good. That means he's not wavering back and forth and flip-flopping. No, he's staying put for a while, and sometimes that's exactly what we need. All right, so we got that 3 of Swords. This is weird, you guys, because honestly, I think every sign I've done is getting this 3 of Swords at the end of the month. And that tells me that there is some emotional stuff that could be distracting us from our financial goals at the end of April. All right, so here's the thing. It's kind of like giving us a heads up. We're all going to be feeling a little bit emotional towards the end of the month, and that could cause us to be distracted as it relates to our finances and our money, but we don't have to let it be distracting. We don't have to let it be disruptive. All right, so be prepared for that. We got 2 knights here. This Knight of Wands means that there's going to be some things happening at your workplace for some of you, which could feel like you're not necessarily being supported. And I'm getting that because we also got this 10 of Pentacles, right? So you may not feel support. Oh, and then we got the King of Wands in reverse. Yeah. So you may feel like you're not being supported in your work or in your business, but that doesn't mean that something necessarily is wrong, okay? Just understand that sometimes some people, I mean, I don't want to say haters, but sometimes people are that way. They feel threatened by you. They feel like maybe even jealous or envious, whatever the case may be. All right, so understand you may be dealing with a little bit of that towards the end of the month, but like I said, that's not going to impact your money in any way. It's just something that you're going to have to dismiss to the best of your ability. All right, Cancer. So like I said, you've got money miracles happening in April. I'm very excited for you. It's going to be really good. Going to be really juicy. All right, so get ready. Get ready. All right, let's go ahead and close out your reading with a Threads of Fate Oracle card. Ooh, we got the Shadow card. All right. Sometimes this means doing shadow work. In other words, acknowledging the deepest, darkest parts of yourself and not judging them, but sometimes accepting and embracing that part of you, and understand that we all have it, and it's an opportunity for us to grow and to learn about who we are. So that's what I got for you, Cancer. Hope you enjoyed this reading.